Hey YouTube, it's Tyler the Antenna Man here, and today I'm going to tell you 6 ways you can mount an outdoor antenna. Most of you that have been watching me for a while probably already know that you will get the best reception with an antenna mounted outside as long as it is the correct antenna for the frequencies in your area. Using indoor antennas can be problematic depending on how far you are from the transmitters and how your building material is in your house. And mounting an antenna outside can not only provide you better reception, but can also get you additional channels. Most times when I set someone up with an outdoor antenna, they nearly double the amount of channels they receive compared to using an indoor setup. And a lot of times those channels are major stations. Like in Philadelphia, a lot of people have problems getting 6ABC because they're on the low VHF band and it doesn't do well with an indoor antenna. So by mounting an antenna outside, you are likely to get more stations. As a general disclaimer, this video is for informational purposes only. Please do not attempt to set up an outdoor antenna if you lack the skill to do so or are unsure if you can do it safely. I always recommend hiring a professional to do the job. If you attempt to set up an antenna on your own, I am not responsible for any damage, injury, or death that may occur. Now that I got that out of the way, I can tell you the 6 ways you can mount an outdoor antenna. The first option is relatively easy and will work for most of you that are using a small directional antenna. And it's to use a small J-pole. They're relatively easy to install. They just go right on the trim of your roof and they're about a foot or 2 and usually are meant to hold up smaller antennas. They will not work to hold up an antenna like this, but they will work to hold up an antenna like this. You can also use a J-pole to install an antenna in your attic as long as the signals are strong enough. I found that most people who live within 30 miles of the broadcast towers with decent line of sight, and depending on the building material, you may get away with an attic setup, but as I mentioned, for best reliable reception, you want an outdoor setup. Another way to mount an outdoor antenna is to use the Channel Master Universal Antenna Mount. This works almost the same way as a J-pole, except it's a lot larger and can hold a much larger antenna. In fact, I refer to it as a sturdy J-pole because it's relatively sturdy when mounting a larger antenna. A small J-pole like this is not going to hold an antenna like this. But the Channel Master Universal Mount will definitely hold a larger antenna. Another way to mount an outdoor antenna is to use a chimney mount. This is a fairly popular choice among people because you don't have to worry about drilling into your home's foundation. A chimney mount pretty much wraps around your chimney and has a set of Y brackets that will hold a pole in place, and then you can put the antenna on that. You just want to make sure that you don't mount it on a chimney that has a fireplace or very, very hot heat, or you will melt your antenna. If you end up deciding on a chimney mount, make sure you follow the link in the description of my video to some recommended chimney straps, because I have found some very flimsy ones in the past and want to make sure you don't end up buying the ones that I had purchased that were probably like $4 or $5 cheaper, but they just did not do a good job to the point I had to send them back and then redo the work. So make sure you follow the link in my description to the chimney mount if you decide to purchase them. Another way to mount an outdoor antenna is to use a wall mount on the side of your house. These usually come with a pair of 2 brackets used to hold up a pole to support an antenna. These are sold with various standoff sizes, so if you have a roof overhang that's about a foot, you want to make sure that you purchase the appropriate standoff size, probably about 18 inches, so that way you can mount the antenna above the roof line. Another way you can mount an outdoor antenna is to use an eave mount. This essentially mounts a pole really high at the peak of your roof, and you'll probably get more height with this kind of mount compared to the previous mounts I've mentioned, unless you have a very tall chimney. This will give you very good height and will probably give you much better reception compared to using a small J-pole. Another way you can mount an outdoor antenna, and this is for people in a very rural setting that cannot get reliable reception with a basic mount that I had mentioned, is to use a tower. These typically have to be installed with a contractor. So for those of you that are saying, oh, I can do it myself, I don't have to listen to an antenna man, you're definitely going to have to hire a contractor to install a tower, because it usually has to be put in a concrete base foundation, and there's a lot of other red tape that goes along with it. But these can go up relatively high, and as a result, you get the best reception, having a very high tower. Technically, there is another way to mount an outdoor antenna, and I don't recommend it for the whole reason of roof leaks. You can technically use a tripod to mount an antenna on the top of your roof, but I really don't recommend it because it has to be done a certain way to avoid leaks. And I know there are ways to prevent leaks, but I just don't really trust drilling into the top of a roof. You're just kind of asking for trouble down the road. So technically, you can mount an antenna using a tripod, but I really don't recommend it. Stick to the other antenna mounts I mentioned in this video. So there you are, 6, technically 7, don't use the 7th way, to mount an outdoor antenna. I highly recommend purchasing the appropriate mount you think would go best on your house and then hiring a local contractor to do the job. I attached links in the description to all of these parts, and if you aren't sure which mount would work best, definitely consult with a local contractor first. Now that you know your options on how to mount an outdoor antenna, how do you know which outdoor antenna to buy? There are thousands of models out there and they all work differently. Some only pick up UHF, some only pick up VHF, some pick up both. I do offer custom antenna recommendations on my website at antennamanpa.com, where I go through your unique reception situation, look at the frequencies and how strong and weak they are, and make a determination on what antenna would truly work best for your area. Antennas are not a one-size-fits-all model, and investing in a custom antenna recommendation from me can save you hundreds of dollars by not purchasing the wrong antenna. Thanks again for watching this YouTube video, and make sure you are subscribed to my YouTube channel if you use an antenna to get TV or are thinking about it. And if you're already subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you click on the little notifications icon so that way you can get notifications when I post new videos and you don't miss an important topic. I have a lot to get to in the coming months about over-the-air TV. Thanks again for watching and have an awesome day.